Suzy and Friends.
With Suzy Cato.
Zealand's favourite kids podcast.
This is Suzy and Friends.
With Suzy Cato.
Kia ora e hoa. Welcome to Suzy and Friends.
Yep, it's Suzy and Friends in a podcast. Aotearoa's favourite kids podcast. Kia ora, I'm Trevor.
And I'm Suzy Cato. And now that you're here, the fun can begin. And today we begin with Grayson's brain teaser. Are you ready to have your brain teased?
Oh yes, there's nothing like putting your brain to the test by giving it a bit of an exercise. These brain teasers are a bit like gymnastics for your brain.
Well, let's see if Grayson's brain teaser has your brain doing a roly-poly with Trevor, shall we? Okay, here we go. If there are 3 apples and you take away 2, how many do you have? I'll say it again. If there are 3 apples and you take away 2, how many do you have?
Hang on, Suzy, I thought you said this was going to tease my brain. This sounds like a simple maths question, don't you think? If there are 3 apples and you take away 2, then, there's only 1 left. One's the answer, it has to be, surely.
You might not want to be too quick there, Trevor. Have another listen to it and have a wee think. If there are 3 apples and you take away 2, how many do you have?
Thinking. No, the answer, it's still got to be just 1. If there are 3 apples and you take away 2, then there's only 1 left.
True, if that was the way the question was asked, but the question is, if there are 3 apples and you take away 2, how many do you have? That means the answer is 2. You have the 2 apples that you took away.
Oh, that is not a brain teaser. That is a full brain workout. It sure did make my brain do a roly-poly.
How about you? Ka pai tō mahi if you guessed it correctly. And well done for giving it a go. Each time we put our brain to the test, we're doing something really good for our brain.
This week's game of What's That Sound might have your brain doing another roly-poly. Whakarongo, have a listen, see if you can guess what it is.
He aha tērā tangi. What's that sound? Can you guess what this week's sound is? I know I've heard it before. Don't worry if you can't guess it straight away. We get to hear it again later in the show. And at the end of Suzy and Friends, Trevor will give us the answer.
Yep, I sure will. Before then, though, we've got fun facts from Suzy, cool te kōrero, and the latest episode of Princess and Strengthus from Simon Taylor.
Alex tells us all about the book Roo and Vladimir that he read recently. Jessie shares a story they wrote at school. And kid comedians Finn, Hudson and Lisa share this week's triple treat of jokes. In fact, here they are now.
Okay, it's joke time. What's your name?
Finn.
Hey Finn, how are you today?
Good.
How old are you?
8.
All right, 8-year-old Finn, what's your joke?
Why is 6 afraid of 7?
I don't know. Why is 6 afraid of 7?
7, 8, 9.
What's your joke, my friend?
Why do ducks have tail feathers?
I don't know. Why do ducks have tail feathers?
To hide their butt quacks.
Hi, what's your name?
I'm Lisa.
Lisa, you've got a joke?
Yeah.
All right, hit me with it.
What did the fish say when it hit the wall?
I don't know. What did the fish say when it hit the wall?
Damn.
It's New Zealand's favourite kids show, Suzy and Friends, with Suzy Cato.
Those are some very cheeky jokes, Finn, Hudson and Lisa. Very funny. Hey, and if you have a joke you'd like to share, you can email suzy@suzy.co.nz. And we might just get you to share your joke with the rest of New Zealand and the world. Hey, Lisa's joke about the fish swimming into the wall really got me thinking. Do you know what a dam is? Well, that's what today's fun facts are all about. Dams.
Fun facts. Fun facts. Fun facts.
Fun fact 1. A dam is a barrier built across a river or a stream to control the water flow, and people have been building them for thousands of years across Europe and the Middle East, and then later around the rest of the world. Fun fact 2. We don't have beavers in New Zealand, but in America they have an animal called a beaver that creates a dam across rivers and streams using logs and mud. They build a dam to make a beaver lodge, a place for them to live that keeps them safe from wolves and coyotes or mountain lions. Fun fact 3. We have loads of dams across Aotearoa. Some dams are for irrigation, for watering plants and crops and fields of grass for cows and so on. Some dams are for drinking and for tap water. And some are huge ones, made of tons of steel and concrete, that are hydroelectric dams. They control the flow of water to create electricity for homes and businesses and factories. And that's Fun Facts for today.
Ka pai tō mahi, Suzy. Nice work. Hey, where do you get all of the information for your fun facts?
Oh, I love reading. So I read as much information as I can, and then I try to pick out the facts that are fun and that are interesting. Hey, if you have some fun facts about things that you're interested in and you want to share them with me and the rest of New Zealand, email suzy@suzy.co.nz. We would love to hear from you.
Well, Alex loves reading too and recently read the story Roo and Vladimir by Minky Stapleton. Let's find out what Alex thought of it.
Hi, my name is Alex. I am 8 years old and today I will be reviewing the book Roo and Vladimir. It's by Minky Stapleton. A cool thing about this book is Minky Stapleton wrote and illustrated this book by herself. The book is about a really unlikely friendship because Roo is so big that all the other dogs are scared of him. And his tail is very clumsy. He trips over his own feet. Since he's so big, he needs to rest his head on stuff a few seconds every day. And all the dogs are scared. It starts off as a sad story, and then at the end it becomes happy, and there's a little bit of adventure in there. I think kids would like this book because it's about making friends, and it would teach people to make friends, teach people to not judge anyone by how they look. My favourite part is when Roo is at the bridge and takes all the animals over to the other side, and not just the dogs, some ducks too, and hedgehogs. My favourite character is Vladimir because Vladimir doesn't judge Roo by how he looks. I love the illustrations because they've got very nice colours and the drawings of the dogs are very good. This would be a good book for the library because it's very entertaining. I think everyone who comes to the library would very much like this book. My name's Alex and that was the review of Roo and Vladimir by Minky Stapleton. Bye!
This is Suzy and Friends.
With Suzy Cato.
Minky Stapleton is pretty talented. Not only did she write that story, Roo and Vladimir, she illustrated the book as well.
And Alex is a very talented reader. Thanks for sharing why you thought the book was so good, Alex. Hey, maybe if you like reading, you could be one of our reviewers too. Or if you like jokes, you could be one of our jokers. 6-year-old Alice sent us an email with a joke recently. Alice said, "Kia ora, Suzy and Trevor. My name is Alice. I'm 6 years old and I live in Auckland. I have a joke to share about Pokemon, my favourite thing in the world right now." Are you ready for a joke? Here it is. How do you get Pikachu on a bus?
I don't know. How do you get Pikachu on the bus?
You Pokemon. Alice also said, "Ngā mihi for the fun podcast."
Well, ngā mihi nui for the fun joke, Alice. That was very good. I wonder how Alice is getting on with this week's What's That Sound? How about you? Shall we listen to it again? Okay, here it is.
He aha tērā tangi. What's that sound? Do you need a clue? Me too. Trevor, what's the clue for this sound?
Okay, here comes the clue. The better you get at this, the faster the sound goes. Okay? So instead of thwack, 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 it would go thwack, 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 or even faster than that. But you have to be pretty fit. Oops, maybe I've given you 2 clues there.
Ooh, can you guess now? No worries if you're not completely sure. We'll play the sound again at the end of the show, and then Trevor will tell us what it is before Suzy and Friends finishes for the day, okay?
There's lots of fun before the end of the podcast, though, like Codi is here with Cool to Kōrero. Jessie's going to tell us about Sparkles the bunny and the spinning chair.
And Simon Taylor, storyteller, has the latest episode of Princess and Strengthus. And here he is.
This is the story of Princess and her protector Strengthus, who just happens to be a unicorn. The wizards of the Wildwood are enemies of her father the king. One day when Princess and Strengthus were out riding, the wizards' giants chased them away from the castle. They couldn't return, so they have ridden into unexplored lands beyond the king's border. It was a warm and lazy sunny day. Princess was riding on Strengthus the unicorn across the green fields towards a forest. "Strengthus, what are those long stringy things hanging down from the branches of the trees?" "They are vines, Princess, and when cut, they make very fine and strong ropes. The forest stretches out for a long way, and I think we need to pass through it. I'm sure we'll be safe." The trees were very tall, with long trunks that had broad, thick branches at the top. Soon they began to hear a river. "Can you hear the river, Strengthus? From the noise, I think it must be very big." "I think you are right. And now we must be careful. Do not move quickly, for we are being watched. And whilst we wait for them, look at the treetops. See the houses built around the upmost branches? It is truly a tree town." Just then, long vines suddenly unrolled from the lowest of the tree houses, and men and women slid down them. When they'd reached the ground, Princess realised that the people were only a metre tall. "You are them, aren't you? You are right, husband. See the horn. You must be the ones they seek." "What do you mean they seek?" "The giants, of course. That's why they destroyed our bridge. They said you would come." "Forgive us, we are strangers and don't understand you. I am Princess, and this is my protector Strengthus." "Who are you?" "I am Tree Leader Father, and beside me is Tree Leader Mother, and these good folk around us are our people. Come with us, and we'll show you what we mean." Soon they came to a wide gorge, and way down below the steep cliffs was the rushing river. It was 20 years ago that a tree was blown over and fell across the gorge. A happy day. It became our bridge to the other side. But the giants threw it down to stop you crossing the river, to trap you here. My husband, Tree Leader Father, is right. The trouble is, many families, our children and grandchildren, live in the trees across the river, and now we will never meet and hug them again. Strengthus, I feel responsible for this. Is there nothing we can do? I think we can help. Mr. and Mrs. Tree Leader, will you cut 15 of your longest vines that you have? Signal your young men and women who live on the other side to be ready. As you wish, Strengthus. And without another word, they cut down the longest vines and laid them out along the gorge edge. Then Strengthus had them take them up and tie them to a big branch high above the gorge, one that could be easily reached by all the tree people, but out of reach of any giant that came to the forest. What will you do now, Strengthus? Now, I need everyone on both sides of the gorge to be silent and just watch. Then he lifted his head and whistled, but soon it turned into the most beautiful birdsong. Princess and the tree people watched and listened in fascination as one, then two birds came and settled on nearby bushes and trees. Then more and more came, and when over 100 birds had gathered, they rose as one, and taking up the first vine, they began to lift it off the ground. More and more arrived, bigger birds, even eagles, to help them, and together they lifted the rope and carried the end to the other side. They dropped it onto the ground where the tree people gathered it, and climbing up to the nearest tree, secured it to a big branch high above the ground. Time and again the birds lifted and carried the vines across, until there were enough to form a bridge, a rope bridge. I don't know what to say. We are saved. Thank you. Thank you. I'm just so sorry. It is so high up in the tree. You cannot use it, Strengthus. Tree Leader Father is right. Instead, Princess, we will give you food and drink and tell you where you can travel to cross the river. Though it is a journey of many days, it is very dangerous. You must be careful. And so they continued their journey. Happy they helped the tree people of the riverside, but cautious of any danger that may lay ahead. Now, I have a question, girls and boys. Can you remember the biggest bird that helped take the vines across the river? Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
Kia ora, Simon. Thank you for the story. Were you able to answer Simon's question right at the end? What was the name of the biggest bird that helped lift the vines? I might have to go back and listen to the story again. How about you? I wonder what the bird was. I know. Let's wait until the end of the show and then go back and listen together.
That's a very good idea. And remember, you can come back and listen to each episode of Suzy and Friends as many times as you like. But right now, it is cool to kōrero with Codi.
Kia ora, ko Codi tōku ingoa. Today, we're learning to say, I'm hungry in te reo Māori. Here's how we say it. Kei te hia kai ahau. Kei te hia kai ahau. As usual, let's do the first bit, then the second bit. Right. Try saying after me, kei te. And again, kei te. Good. Now the second bit. Repeat after me. Hia kai ahau. Now let's put it all together. Listen carefully, then say it after me. Kei te hia kai ahau. One more time. Kei te hia kai ahau. Good job. Ka pai tō mahi. And that's cool to kōrero. Keep using kei te hia kai ahau. And I'll have more cool to kōrero on the next Suzy and Friends.
Kia ora, Codi. That was a very useful phrase to know. Kei te hia kai ahau. I'm hungry. And I am. How about you?
Well, I've got an apero here, a crisp, juicy apero, apple. Maybe we can have some after the show. I'll share it with you.
He whakaaro pai, Trevor. Good idea. Well, Jessie has a story for us first. Take it away, Jessie.
Hi, my name is Jessie, and I'm going to be reading The Spinning Chair. Sparkle stood staring at the glittery light. She could see something coming out of the bush, glaring at Sparkles. Sparkles was only little. She didn't know what to do. Should she go in? Should she not? Sparkles thought for a minute, and then she thought she would be brave and go find out the mystery. So here's Sparkle hopping towards the mystery light. Soon she would be in, and yet she was standing on a chair, spinning around. Sparkles felt very sick, but she remembered that she had to be brave. Finally, the spinning chair stopped at a whole different world. Sparkles could hear singing. Then she walked in with no second thoughts. It's Candy World, she said with confusion. She hopped in with joy in her eyes. But okay, she did have second thoughts. Sparkles turned around and decided to hop back on the spinning chair and go back home.
What a great story, Jessie. What a wonderful imagination you have. Sparkles the bunny and the spinning chair. Very good.
Ka pai tō mahi. Okay, it's that time of the podcast. Time for one last chance to guess what's that sound. He aha te rātangi. Whakarongo, let's listen to the sound again.
What's that sound? He aha te rātangi. Do you know what it is?
I think I'm ready to guess. How about you? When I heard the clue that you have to be pretty fit to hear the sound go faster, it reminded me of when kids play with a skipping rope in the playground. What do you think? Is it the sound of someone jumping with a skipping rope?
If you just said yes, you are right. It is someone skipping with a rope. And you win a round of applause. And a pat on the back for guessing correctly. And if you guessed something else, well, that's fine. Good on you for trying. That's the main thing. And we'll have another sound for What's That Sound next week. Also next week, Simon Taylor Storyteller will have the next episode in the series Princess and Strengthus. And this one has got a crocodile in it.
And I'll get to introduce you to a friend who has a really cool job. But right now, a huge thank you to everyone who joined us today. Thanks, Grayson, for our brain teaser. And thank you for our jokes, Finn, Hudson, Lisa and Alice.
Remember, if you have a joke or a brain teaser or story, or you just want to say hi, send an email to suzy@suzy.co.nz or visit the website suzy.co.nz. Send us a message from there.
Thank you, Jessie, for the story about Sparkles and the spinning chair. And to Alex for telling us about Roo and Vladimir, the book by Minky Stapleton.
Thanks to our fabulous friends at New Zealand On Air and RNZ.
And thank you to you for joining us for Suzy and Friends in a podcast. We love it when you come to join us.
Make sure you share our podcast with all your friends. And we'll talk to you next week. Ka kite.
Ka kite e hoa. Goodbye, my friend.
This is Suzy and Friends.
With Suzy Cato.